100, I think.
Cool. Oh, we're live now.
Sorry, I think that was one important button I had to make sure I clicked. I have 2 screens. So I have the video here, and then I have an instruction sheet on the other side. I was like, oh gosh, I hope I'm doing this right.
I think, because did they say they might record some of them? Maybe?
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Yay. All right. I am going to off camera and mute it for a second, but I'll keep my presentation up so then that way I can make sure the rest of my house knows that I'm getting ready to start this.
Yeah, of course. Take your time.
Be back in a minute.
Hi, Christian. Nope. And Sarah, I have a message going with the Soul team. I think they are wrapping up the keynote, and so they're going to let me know when the keynote is done and everyone is transitioning, so we
Great.
can have a better idea of when to expect people and when to get started.
Perfect. Just whenever that is, just let me know. I'm going to off mute in cam again because I've got 4 teenagers and you never know what's going to happen.
No problem. No problem at all. Okay, Sarah, I think we are ready to start. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to have you here with us. My name is Pamela. I work at Lindenwood University, and I will be taking care of things behind the scenes. If we have any issues this morning, and I'm really excited to introduce Sarah Leassner, who will be presenting on the impact of positive interactions today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Just to make sure that our chat is working, I want everyone who is here with us today to kind of give me their name and what school they're representing today, just to kind of see who we have out there. Like Pamela said, I'm Sarah Leassner from Lindenwood University. I am the director of first-year programs, but one of the other things that I do at Lindenwood is I kind of spread the concept of power of positivity. So when they asked me to figure out what is something that I could share with a group of young leaders, that's what I picked. And so I'm happy that you guys are here today. Just wanted to share that for me, the concept of positivity is really a full-fledged mindset. It isn't just a single topic. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. So I'm super excited to have this as something that I'm presenting to you all. And as we get going, I'm actually going to do quite a bit of questions and having you guys do some thinking in terms of how this connects to you. And we're going to also be, again, sharing in the chat. So I'm hoping that people can interact with us that way. So for me, why this topic? Why was this something that I really dug deep into? Well, personally, I feel like the power of positivity and the power of positive interactions is something that I personally hold as one of my core beliefs and values. I feel like we have so much in this world, and I think that one of the things we can best give one another is the power of positivity, is the idea that we can praise and connect and really share positive engagement with others. Professionally, many years ago, I interacted with a couple of positivity concepts. And so I not only live this in my professional life or my personal life, but I really do try and live it in my professional life. I like to see things in the bigger picture. I like to see things in the way of personal relationship development. And so a lot of that comes from the power of positivity. And that's how I like to live my professional life. Yeah, I switched over the comments and now I see everybody. Hey, look at Maryville, Lindenwood. Hi, you guys. Hello, I'm so excited. This is great. Again, why this topic is it's a lifestyle. It's something that you have to think about every single day, every single moment. It's not something that you can kind of live in and out. At least that's my personal belief. And so hopefully through this presentation, you can pick something from it that you can either take from your personal life and use it in your personal life, take it from your academic or your collegiate experience in your professional life. And then hopefully really what I want is I want people to live this way as a lifestyle from the rest of their life. I know that's a big ticket thing, and that's kind of high thing to ask for, but that's really what I'm hoping for. So for me, the power of positivity, I really do believe in it. And I'm going to share 3 things with you. The reason why I believe that the power of positivity is something that we should engage and be challenged by is that many years ago, I participated in something called the Strengths Quest inventory. If you know your Strengths Quest, throw it in the chat over there. For me, the concept is that they do an inventory and they look at all of the different things. There's 34, I think, different skill sets, and they tell you what your top 5 strengths are. Yes. Your top 5 strengths. And for me, that meant a lot because that allowed me to focus on the things that I was really good at, and then maybe stop beating myself up so much for, positivity. Yeah, Olivia. Beating myself up for some of the things that I might not be so good at. And so really focusing on my core concepts. One of the other things is through that, I also had the experience with the How Full Is Your Bucket book. Some of you guys might have heard of that. Sometimes they also start that early in elementary schools, middle schools, and sometimes they use it in high schools. And so some people might have a little bit of knowledge about that. Yeah, thanks for sharing all of your strengths. Yay, I'm glad this is working. I'm super excited. I want to be there and present with all of you. So this is really kind of interesting for me. So thanks for participating in the chat. I really do appreciate it. And we'll talk a little bit about the How Full is Your Bucket book in just a second and the concept of that. The other thing is called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Anker. This is also one of the things that really led me to believe in the concept of positivity in your personal, professional life. It talks about how positivity is a guiding force in your work environment and how being positive could really advance you. And so these are kind of the three kind of core resources or references that I use in terms of kind of how I focus on the power of positivity. So I want to share with you a little bit about the concept of bucket filling. Typically, if I'm in an in-person situation, I make everybody hold their own buckets, and then we sit and talk about the bucket philosophy. So if you guys can just play along with me at home, put your hands out like this and pretend like you have a bucket, right? If you've never heard of the concept of bucket filling, is that every interaction you have with someone, may it be a classmate, may it be someone in one of your student organizations, may it be friends, family, those kinds of things, every single interaction you have with someone, you can either fill their bucket or dip from it. If some of you are still holding your buckets, you could put them down. Thanks for playing along. So to me, you really have to focus on the idea that every single interaction you have to think to yourself, is this going to fill someone's bucket or is this going to dip from it? I really think that, especially in our leadership environments, it helps us think. If you go into a conversation that you know is going to be intense or is going to be challenging, figure out if what you have to say to that person or what you have to say to that group is either going to fill their bucket or dip from it. I think it kind of really reframes our circumstance. Here's the other thing I think people should know about is that there's something called the impact number. It means through one negative interaction, how many positive interactions do you think it takes to overcome one negative interaction? Throw some ideas in the chat. Anybody want to guess? How many interactions does it take to overcome? See if we get some guesses here. Kyle, you nailed it. Excellent job. It takes 5 positive interactions to overcome one negative interaction, right? That's a lot. Now, let's think about this year. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone down, right? And some of the things are really challenging. So it takes a lot of positive things to overcome that one negative thing. Yeah, Kyle, celebrate. So if you think about it, if you have negative interactions or negative things happening to you, you have to provide an opportunity or to connect with others that will allow you to have positive interactions so you can have the reserve. You can have a reserve of negative or positive interactions to overcome that negative. That's why a lot of times when bad things are happening, it feels like this perpetual snowball because one bad thing will happen, one bad thing will happen, one bad thing will happen, it'll go and go and go. But if you don't have enough positivity in your life or positive interactions, that's just going to be really overwhelming. So the other thing about the concept of bucket filling, which I think is super, super important, is that it really means something when you're interacting with someone that you mean what you say. Many times, if you're interacting with someone and someone else can feel that it's not sincere, that's going to dip from their bucket. So there's a craft and there's a manner of interacting with people is that when you say something positive, you probably should mean it. And you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, man, there are some people that I interact with that I'm having a hard time coming up with what I would say to them positively. As leaders in your environments and your student organizations, what I challenge you to do is to look at those individuals and find the things that they are good at. Find the things that they are positive about or have some skill set in, and affirm them and engage them in dialogue about those things. Because if you're struggling with someone, the way to kind of overcome that is to engage with them positively. So then that way your ratio kind of works itself out. So now I want you to think real quick. I'm going to give you guys probably like 30 seconds to think about when was the last time I filled a bucket or somebody else filled my bucket. All right. So think about that. It could be within the last day, the last week, the last month, the last year. When was the last opportunity that you either filled a bucket or somebody else filled a bucket for you? Okay. Thinking. All right. Anybody gutsy enough to share with the group about those bucket filling situations? Probably has to be pretty quick because we don't have a lot so people can read it. For me, while people are typing, for me, one of the last things that was really bucket filling for me last night, I read a positive affirmation card. Yes, excellent. For me, recently, I did a power of positivity presentation for one of the classes at Lindenwood, and the entire group screenshotted it and they sent it to me as kind of a visual card and said, hey, thanks for being super. We really appreciated you coming. And it just meant, it meant the world to me. And it was super simple. And that faculty member knew that that was something that I would really appreciate. So excellent. Thanks for sharing, Kyla. Anybody else want to share anything? I wasn't exactly sure of the structure, so I know that this is kind of tough. This is typically what I would do in breakout rooms. So, okay. Oh, yay, Anna. I'm sure that really did fill his bucket. Told my boyfriend that I admire his creativity. For me, sometimes it's just about the little things. That's absolutely right. Just the little comments, just the little niceties. Sometimes I plan every day. I'm like, okay, what kind of engagement can I do, even if it's something small, to the people that I'm going to interact with, to show them that I appreciate them, that I care for them, that they have positive attributes that I notice. Excellent. I attended a wellness session for time management yesterday. Excellent. Excellent. Those are all really great things. Self-improvement is also super important. So that's a really great example. Oh, excellent. Listening to others. All of those are really amazing. So I hope that you take from this is that when you're interacting with your student organizations or the people in your classrooms or being a leader on your campus, that you're taking those bits and pieces, opportunities in those moments to fill other people's buckets, because it really can help change the perception of you and to change your relationships with those individuals. In terms of the vocational and leadership connections, in terms of why I want to bring positivity, is I myself am wrapping up my final degree. I am writing what I call my book report, but it's really my dissertation because it just sounds so much better when you call it a book report, about something called core self-evaluations. And within each one of those core self-evaluations, every single thing talks about a concept of positivity. And what I'm researching is that leaders that have high core self-evaluations have the ability to impact change, have ability to have their whoever's in their organizations commit to the organizations. And it also makes those people that person is leading have an identity super connected to that organization. So if those things sound like amazing things and things that you would want as a leader at university, at your whatever university you're at, the concept is it's about having a positive attitude. It's about having the things and ideas that circle around positivity. One of the things that most I talk about and most I research in the concept of power positivity is building relationships, building meaningful, strong relationships. If you are a positive person, if you engage people in dialogue about the things that they like, the things that they do well, it will help your relationship development and the ability to build really, really amazingly. For me, at my current institution and probably at all the other institutions that I've worked, is I like spending time getting to know other people and what they're really good at and what interests them. So then that way, when I have a project or something that I need someone else to work on for me, I already have that relationship developed with that other person. And they're like, yeah, sure, Sarah, I'd be happy to do that, right? And I root those relationship developments in the concepts of positivity. If you want your organization to grow, one of the best ways is to look at the things that you really do well and to take them to the next level. If that sounds familiar, yes, maximizing is one of my strengths. It's one of my things that I really focus on. Every professional that I supervise, every student that I interact with, every program that I run, every service that I provide, I'm constantly trying to figure out how to take things to the next level. And one of the best and most efficient ways of doing that, to maximizing your organizations, is to look at what are the things we are really good at and how do we take those things to the next level. Sometimes it's a short step, sometimes it's really big steps, but it's surrounded by the concept of positivity and maximizing to kind of take things to a next direction. Also, how many people know the golden rule? Everyone has heard things like do unto others as you would want done unto yourself, right? I actually don't practice the golden rule, and I know that might be shocking. I practice the platinum rule. I treat others how they prefer to be treated, not how I prefer to be treated, which means I need to understand the individuals in my organizations and the individuals in my classrooms and the individuals in my committees, because I want them to be treated that way versus how I would prefer to be treated. I'm going to ask you guys in just a second to think about how you've seen positivity in your student organizations, but I'm going to tell a quick story, but I want you guys to take the opportunity to be thinking about an example of positivity that you've seen in your organizations and how it's helped advance your group. For me, when I'm talking back about the platinum rule, is that and for those of my Lindenwood friends who are on here, hey, I saw a few of you, I want you to know, I am a hugger. And in this season has been very challenging. I want to hug and embrace individuals. That is my personal affect and style. One of my nearest and dearest friends in the whole world, we met in grad school. She is not a toucher. Oh no. Oh God.
Hey everyone, I am checking in with Sarah. It looks like she may have had some technical issues. Give us 1 second and we'll be back on here shortly. Sorry everyone.
I am so sorry, everyone. How super embarrassing. You guys are
Welcome
lovely.
back.
You guys are great. Look what great leaders you are. You hung in tight, and thanks for the positive things that you were saying. Like, I'm sure she'll be gone. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. You guys are lovely. Thanks, everybody. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Oh, perfect. Okay, see? Right back on. Thanks. It only took 3 minutes. All right, so since I lost that time, I'm not going to talk a little bit about about the positive things that have happened in your groups and organizations. I'm super sorry that happened, but I still want to kind of get to the rest of the presentation and make sure that you guys kind of wrap it up. So thanks, you guys are lovely. So let's talk about the concept of positivity. I want everyone to focus on the picture that is on the screen right now, right? You can be sad, angry, upset, anxious, drained, overwhelmed, unsure, afraid, and still be positive, right? So for a hot second there, I was super angry that my computer turned off because I didn't realize that my plugs wasn't in. But I was like, you know what? They're still there. They're still present. I will get there when I need to be. I can have a positive attitude about what's happening right now, right? I didn't let it overwhelm me because I knew I'd have to come back and have a great conversation with you, right? It's about how we reframe our mind whenever anything negative or something happens that we can't control. It's about reframing it in the moment when we can move past it, right? So for me, I'm sure there are a ton of things that you all missed out on this past year, right? Ever since last January, when we've had to redo the entire lifestyle of a university experience, right? For me, there are challenges that you have never faced in your entire experience, but there's a way to retool and reframe to think about it in a different way. Before this conversation started, Pamela and I were just talking about new student orientation. Where are my new student orientation staff members out there? If you're orientation leaders or if you run orientation for your schools, please put it in the chat box saying if you have that particular experience. I love new student orientation, right? It's one of my most amazing things. I get to work with the 80 of the most amazing student leaders on campus running orientation. For me, not being able to have them in person and have them face to face was really challenging. But what happened through that experience, my friends in student involvement, they did an amazing job planning some really engaging opportunities for students. And my Lion Leader staff, when they were doing all the virtual events and activities in the evening, they're like, that was one of the most fun things I've ever done in my entire orientation experience. They did like online karaoke. It was just different, right? So it made me think, listen, I know it's not the way that I want it. I know that it's something that I would prefer to be a different way, but let's make the most of it. So I want you guys to be thinking about, or maybe share with me, what are some of the things that you had to change in your student organization or your experience that you thought like, well, we have to change this and this isn't going to be great, but it ended up being really, really amazing. Does anybody have out there a story that they'd be willing to share super quick or to put in the chat about their experience? Anybody at all? Like I said, I just want to give another shout out to our Lindenwood staff who did a phenomenal job changing at a lot of things that are happening on our campus to a more virtual environment. I'm just really super impressed and proud of them. Anybody want to share? I know this is super hard this way. I wish I had you all in this big space and to talk to you all about this kinds of things. But I guess what I'll challenge you to do is to be thinking about how you can change your perspective, how you can sit down and say, I know this isn't exactly how I want it, but how do I change it for the better? How do I move forward in that particular opportunity? Okay. What I want is to kind of give you some homework. I know you're like, I went to a weekend conference. I did not expect to get homework from this experience. And I picked this sweet picture is because this little girl is smiling and super excited about homework. And I want you guys to think about this in a new way, to think about, I'm going to send the link and to have this information shared with you. So then that way you can kind of take it home and work through it. I mentioned a little bit earlier about Sean Anker and the happy secret to better work. This is something that I really believe is a core experience for everyone in the workforce. And so I really want you guys to, I'm going to send the link to this video and to watch it. One of his core components is that you can change your perspective doing small things for 20 days in a row to change your attitude and to change your approach in life. That's not necessarily just a personal thing. That can really be something that you work with in your student organizations, your jobs, all of those kinds of things, is that if you refocus and retool yourself in terms of thinking more positively versus constantly thinking, oh, this isn't going right, this isn't going right. What's that reframing? What's that retooling? So I'm going to share that link with everyone. Typically, I was going to see if I was going to have enough time so we could all watch it together, but because of my little mishap, I'm sorry about that. We're not going to get this opportunity. So I'm going to make sure that I get this link to you guys. The other thing is that this month, February, is the kindness month. That's the entire concept. And so I have two different documents that I'd like to share with the group. And so I'll send not only the link, but these two documents. And so the conference providers can share these out with you all. This is just a calendar for things that you can do in your personal life about how you can spread a little bit of positivity. And then I also have one, if we have any professional staff friends here on the call or they want to use it, I also have a work one, things that you can engage in kindness at work. I want you all to know that this particular concept to me really fills my bucket. And speaking to student leaders out there like yourselves really makes a world of difference to me in my professional life. I can probably attest, and I'm sure the professional staff members either on this call or at your institutions, it's been kind of heavy recently, right? There's been a lot of stuff going on in our higher education environments that are really challenging. And I can speak for them, I feel, that working with students like yourself, working and seeing the leaders that you're becoming and seeing what good work you are doing makes the difference in our worlds. And so I just want you to know that if there are people on your campus that have meant something to you in your as a student organization leader, if there's been a faculty member that has been amazing to you, that has shown you a career path, or you've just really loved their class, I'm strongly encouraging for you to go back after this experience. Go back and tell them so, saying what you did in my leadership life or my classroom life made a difference. And so I wanted to provide an opportunity. I know this is kind of weird because we're not in person, but does anybody have any questions out there about the impact of positive interactions and how you can bring that to your student organization, or an example of how you're doing that in your particular areas? I wanted to provide kind of the last few minutes of our presentation to kind of see if we can do some back and forth dialogue about that. Anybody out there? Anybody? Anything you guys want to? Okay. Oh, what is my view on the law of attraction? I actually think I teach a class on business behavior, health, and society at one of the other institutions in the area. If there's anybody on here from Webster University, hey guys, I teach there a little bit as well. And I teach a class on the impact of connection, right? And so we teach a lot about click moments and the idea of law of attraction. And that doesn't necessarily mean like law of attraction. That means anything that you interact with, at least this is my viewpoint on the law of attraction, anything you experience that lean in concept, it can either be with an individual, it can either be with an idea, it can be with a place, it could be with a profession, anything that you're like, I can't wait until I am in that situation again, or if I am with that person. I feel that that has a lot of ability to show you where you should focus your energy. And sometimes those click moments happen and you're like, I can't believe this just happened. My whole world has changed. So that's how I see law of attraction. I can go into the concept of click accelerators and making connections with people. That was actually my second choice for a presentation. So thank you for asking me about it. I really appreciate it. Anybody else out there have a question about like, hey, I have this situation in my organization and I'd like some help about how do I bring positivity, those kinds of things. It's really hard for me not to see your faces. Anybody? Let me see if there's any clicks. All right, Pamela. For me, I want to thank you guys so much for coming to this particular session. How do you bring positivity to online interactions? Thank you for asking a question. For me, I think that sometimes people get so overwhelmed with Zoom meetings and Zoom classrooms that they stop having just basic get-togethers electronically. For me, I think to bring positivity back into online interactions is if you're doing it in an informal way. For me, I run the First Generation Collegians group on my campus, and we still have First Friday lunches, but we don't have anything formal to talk about. We just get together and ask each other, how are you doing? What's going on in your world? What are the challenges that you're facing and how we can help? So I think one of the things that you can do in terms of bringing positivity to online interactions is to build in those opportunities to just talk to each other as individuals and not as organizations, right? Like sometimes like, hey, we have this agenda and this is the things that we had to do. So building in opening questions. So like, what was the best thing that happened on your January, your winter break or your holiday break? Or what's the best song that you've heard recently? For me, I generally like to figure out to have music, like not walk-in music, but you guys know what I mean, is that before you start an event and before you start a meeting, just have some music playing, right? Anything at all that will kind of change the air of the atmosphere. For me, that's kind of some of the tips and techniques that I've used in terms of bringing positivity to online interactions, is to remember that there are people on the other side of the screen. One of my favorite things to do is to talk about people's pets and kids. I have 2 14-year-old and 2 17-year-olds and a gigantic Cane Corso Mastiff dog. So they're in and out all the time in my experience. And so sometimes that positivity is just to remind people that there are real people behind the screen. And so building in that personal engagement is something that I really recommend. So thank you, Madeline, for asking that question. I really appreciate it. Anybody else have anything? I know this. Oh, you're welcome. I know this is different. I know this is unique. I also just want to kind of, there's my dog, right? I just want to finish up by saying, I'm really impressed with everybody that's here. Everyone that is engaging in an online format on a Saturday afternoon to increase and develop your leadership skills and abilities, I think that's amazing. And I can't wait to see what you learn from this particular experience. I'm sure they probably do some evaluation about the presentations that you've been given. I can't wait to hear feedback you have for me, or if you do have that opportunity. I want you guys to know, if you do ever want to connect with me in terms of getting a hold of me, if you want to ask any questions, if you want to delve a little deeper into the concept of positivity, you can reach me at Leassner, SLEASSNER @lindenwood.edu. And I am happy to continue engaging in dialogue about positivity with you and your organizations and your leadership development. So again, thank you so much for being here, for picking my presentation, and I hope you enjoy every single other thing that you do today. And yeah, that's it. I think that. All right. Yay. You're welcome. You're welcome. You guys are great. Okay. Yay. Yay. You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome. Again, it's been a really lovely start to my day. You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.